Hello again, everyone, and welcome back again for another video. So we got another case to take a look at today. This one is, I think, called a Pado Mini. We'll get to this in a second. I guess what inspired me to go the route I'm going today is a couple things. One, I wanted to do an AliExpress, all AliExpress build. I've seen other people do it. And I'm thinking, I wonder what I could make out of AliExpress if I go in there and see what kind of junk I could slap together out of a CPU. And I was thinking to myself, well, what CPU am I going to use? I really didn't want to go with something older. I don't like using the older stuff, quite honestly. It's nothing too old. But I did have something on my shelf here. It was this one right here, which is a Core i5 8400T, 8th gen. That's old, but not horribly old. This actually came out of my wife's old HP all-in-one um, that got ruined. I figured, the chip was still good. I could use it for something else. And well, then I decided, well, what's the something else I'm going to use it for? I mean, it's not going to be very common that I'm going to have like an 8th gen board lying around. So that made me think, well, you know what? Let's go to AliExpress, which brings us to the case that I'm going to talk about here. Let me turn off the 4K cam. We'll go to the screen here. Uh, like I said, I think this thing is called the Pado Mini. I wasn't quite sure. You can see right here it's going for $32. It says not available here, no longer available. I don't know if that's in just the U.S., which it might be, but if you look around, you might find it. But anyways, 32 bucks. If you look at my orders, I actually paid 33, so the price kind of adjusted a little bit. Total came to 35 bucks that I paid for this case. It looked kind of interesting. I mean, from the pictures and stuff. Again, I wasn't sure what this was, so I looked on the side of the box when it got here today, and I followed the web address on there, which led me to bandbox.com.cn. And I looked around, and it looks like it matches up with this, which is called the Bifang Mini. So I'm gonna guess that's what we are working with today is the Pado Bifang Mini. So let me cut this scene here. Let me cut this box open and let's start taking a look at this and talking about the case a little bit. All right, so I have it taken out of the box now, and I took out the extra pieces that come with it and the manual. Let's have a look at it here, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Let me raise my camera here so you can see it. Change my light maybe. Um, so looking at this straight on. This looks actually really nice. I like how, it's got the glass, nice clear glass there, and then of course it's going to have a glass on the side. I guess what's a little puzzling to me though is where the fresh air is coming in from. For example, you look down at the bottom here, you can see this side, this side. Of course, there's going to be a back here. There's no fresh air intake. If it's going to come in through the bottom, then it's going to come in right here where, of course, the power supply is going to be. So I'm kind of looking at that, and I'm thinking, well, where's the fresh air coming in? Like, for instance, when you look at this, where the power supply itself mounts, you can see the power supply can only go one way. It's not reversible like some are, which would make more sense because then of course you could run your power supply with your fan side up and you could have some air going down in there to exhaust that way. But yeah, I just don't see where the fresh air would be coming in from the bottom if you put fans on the bottom. So I would imagine that's going to be for aesthetic reasons only, and I kind of anticipated that was going to be the case, which is part of the reason I chose the fans that I chose for this build today. Another thing is because, well, it's AliExpress. But yeah, so that's my first impressions with that. But I do like the look at it of it. Looking up front here at the I/O, um, it is USB 3.0 port there, two USB 2, a single jack audio microphone, and then right here would be like your reset button, and then of course your power button. Now I do like the clicky feel. When I seen the pictures of this reset button here, I'm looking like, oh man, that's gonna look like that looks like that's gonna be one of those that's kind of hard to press. But having it in front of me now and playing with it, it's actually really easy. And I got big fingers here, so yeah, it's nice. Reacts pretty quickly here and responsive. It doesn't press hard. It's not mushy. I do like that. Not much else to talk about. On the back here, as you can see down here, get a couple more drives in there. I'm probably going to take this out. This is, of course, removable. You can also get another hard drive right here. You can see little hooky things. I'm going to zoom in there. Little hook things here where your hard drive would go, and then right here is a couple screw holes where you would screw the hard drive down if you want to add another hard drive. It has, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tie down points for your straps to tie down stuff. Not too many. I mean, I think this is pretty much made, like for smaller, simpler builds. Anyways, it's not really unexpected that there's only 9 tie down points. God, I cannot talk. I'm never able to talk. Anyways, so fits micro ATX or ITX, of course. Let's measure the depth here in the back for clearance from the wall. Let me see here. Get out my centimeter. So it looks like touching there, I am at about, let's see, 15, 16, maybe 17 millimeters. More like 16 or 17 millimeters of clearance from the wall to the back there. You could get cable extensions in there, I suppose. It would be pretty tight, but you could do it. Not really too much room in there to stuff away wires and get them out of the way. Luckily, these are kind of short. What I did with this is I actually ran it down in there in the change my light here behind that cage just to kind of shorten those wires a bit. I think they're too long. So if I remove the cage, I'll have more room for the power supply, but it might make the wires all stick up more, and I don't really want to do that. I might just leave the cage just for the sake of something to hold the wires back. I don't know. I guess it depends on what the power supply is going to look like and how that's going to be. I haven't looked at that yet. This is all AliExpress, so a lot of this stuff is going to be a surprise for me as I'm opening it up, trying to do something with this build. And by the way, this build will be for sale, so I'll probably leave a link in there, maybe, when I sell it off, because I'm probably going to do eBay on this one. I might do Jawa.gg. I haven't decided yet, but so that's what the case looks like. Let me go ahead and cut here, and let's pick some of our other parts out. Alright, so I've started the build here. So far, so good. We'll turn it around this way so you can see this side. Looking in here, I got my wires tucked in down here out of the way. I got my USB 3.0 plugged in right there. Everything in there in the bottom that needs to be plugged in is plugged in. I got the board tightened down in there. Looks pretty good from a distance. Looks pretty clean so far. Still don't like these wires down there that kind of stick out. Don't really care for that. They should have given you like a little plate or something there to cover that up. Flipping it around back, I bunched up these wires and tied those down, get those out of the way to kind of give us a clean start here. Decided to keep the drive bay cage in here, and I actually just moved it up closer a little bit, and I used that to actually reinforce some of my cables here so that they're out of the way up on top here, so we got some airflow going in here, what little airflow we will have. I was a little bit worried about the power supply, but then I opened up the box. It's got the power supply. Like I said, AliExpress. Don't expect some high-end parts here. but I'll show you what I got. This is a 500 watt. What did I do with the box? I put the box over here. I'll show you the box first. Iwango Game SD 500 watt power supply. It's pretty light, actually. It's probably one of the lighter power supplies I've ever seen. I don't remember if this fan lights up, but it is white. There's really not much to this. It's going to go in this way, bottom side down. And considering the cables they give me, I should probably more than likely have more than enough room to tuck all this stuff back. So it actually looks like it's not going to be too much of a problem. But what is a little concerning before I've even powered this on is this evidently very, very cheap power supply. Not really a good thing to use long term, I don't think. But I'm doing this for fun, so we'll see how this turns out. Let me cut the scene here, and I'm going to build some more. All right, so I've progressed quite a ways with the build, and of course I ran into some hiccups. Got to have hiccups. And big surprise, the hiccup that I ran into was, of course, the power supply. Power supply. And what was that again? What did I do with that box? Put it over here. Again, like I said in the last scene, it is Iwango Game SD 500. Yeah, avoid that thing like the plague. That, no success with that at all. It did not put enough power. I noticed, like, as soon as I plugged in the thing and I give it juice, the on the motherboard here you can see, let me zoom in here, there's like a light that lights up right here on this heatsink that glows red, and that red light was just kind of flickering and stuff. I'm like, what the hell? And so I had to disconnect that power supply. It would not turn on the PC. Yeah, it's garbage. So I'm running temporarily on a backup Corsair. Got a good power supply going on this for now until I get the new power supply, which I ordered from Amazon this time. Not going to wait on AliExpress. That takes forever. And, well, you see what I got the last time. So I do have a new power supply coming in for this. That one's actually going to be a thermal take. Did it right. Kind of had no choice. I've already gotten this far. But anyways, motherboard's in, like I said earlier. You can see our graphics card. Now, the graphics card is the second thing that I had a problem with from AliExpress. What did I do with it? RX 590 is what we got right here. Radeon RX 590. Let's see it there. A little blurry. It kind of worked, but it was slow to respond when like you'd go to boot the PC. There'd be like a blank screen. I have actually two screens here that I look at from my KVM over there in my setup. One, of course, is the top screen that feeds into my capture card, and then we got this screen right here. Both of those screens, typically, sometimes the capture card one can be a little bit slower, but my other screen here should be right on responsive to what's happening. And neither of those responded for quite a while until Windows was actually loaded. So, yeah, graphics card was a no-go. But I did want to put a graphics card in here, didn't want to spend a lot, didn't want to put a lot of effort into it. Like I said, this is going to be a flip PC for the most part, but I didn't want to put junk in here. I'm not targeting gamers. This is not a gaming computer. This is just a pretty computer. But anyway, so for GPU, I decided to go with the GT1030 instead. It's an Asus GT1030. So those two components got changed out. So not too bad so far. Those two hiccups aside, I do have some cleanup to finish up here. I have some other stuff to do with this. Let me tighten this here a little bit. I notice my camera's a little A little loose. All right. Anyways, I do have some stuff to finish up still. I'm going to do some stuff with the RAM modules right here. The fans are worth noting. These are actually, I think I'm going to put these on my to buy again list. They're called Jump Peak. This one, the two on the bottom here are actually reversed. You can actually see it here. Let me see if I can bring my light up a little bit. That might be a little too bright. Um, they're actually reversed. Where does it say it on there? Right here, Jump Peak MS120 reverse. That's the model. Uh, so they actually, when they spin, they are going this way, and they are actually pushing air upward. Now, I mean, this would make sense on a better case that actually had airflow coming in from the bottom that you wanted to have the airflow coming upward, and you don't want like the bars sticking out. Those can get kind of ugly. So this is kind of a way to get that in there. To use reversible fans that the flow is going that way. So, anyways, then I got 3 of the counterpart fans, which do go in the normal directions for a matching set of 5 fans that this case will hold. All in there. And then my Chinese cooler on here is a Johnsbow 92 millimeter. It's pretty short. This is, again, something that's going to go on my to buy again list. It performs great. I have had no problems with the cooling that I can note with this Johnsbow cooler. And it was, let's see, what is it called? Let me grab it. It is the Johnsbow CR 1400. Right there. CR 1400 is what I'm using. It comes in white or black. There's the white version. RGB on the fan, RGB on the plate right here. Nice looking fan, nice performing fan, really, really cheap. Another thing you're going to see right over here is this. This is just a RGB extension that is reminiscent of the Leon Lee Streimers, but not as clean looking, I guess. I guess you'd have to see it. You will see it, but I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. I guess we'll find out when we do the final reveal on this. But that's how it's looking on the outside there, or yeah, inside there as I'm building and before I finish up. Like I said, I still got some other stuff to do here. I'm waiting for a cover to come right there. So let's cut this scene. We'll go to the specs on this, and then we'll go to the final reveal, and then we'll take it from there. All right, so let's switch to the screen here and look at some stats on this thing. To start out with, we'll start out with some temps on this PC. Again, this motherboard is the ASRock H310M-G/M.2. From what I understand, it's really a board that's available mainly on the Asian market. You don't see it really on the American markets, but on the Asian market, you can get it for a pretty decent price. Pretty good board for 8th and 9th gen CPUs, which is what we're working with today. You can see on our temperatures, we're running really, really low on the cores here at idle, of course. And we're actually using a very, very little power usage, 35 watts there on the CPU. Uh, Same thing with that GT1030, very, very low temperatures going on right now. And if we look at the fans on here, this board has got 3 connectors for a fan. One's the CPU, and then of course 2 system. And looking at the speed on the RPMs for those fans, you can see that they're running nice and slow. So this is a nice, quiet system so far. Anyways, looking at some of the numbers on this, I actually ran Heaven in 2 different settings. First on high, and what we ended up with was 36 frames a second with a max of 79.4. Again, this is a GT1030. This is not a gaming computer. This is just a mid-level entertainment computer, I guess, for movies and surfing the internet, stuff like that. But it can game to an extent. Of course, on high, it's not going to be good for high uh, setting gaming, but on low, we got a 90 frames per second average there with a max of 156. So that was a lot better, and that was in 1080p too. We weren't lowering the resolution down. It was 1080 resolution. Still, pretty decent frame rates, but we'll take a look at that in a bit here. Looking at the Heaven benchmark, or excuse me, Cinebench benchmark. On the multi-core, it scored a 4,612. On the single core, it scored at 871. Looking at the task manager again to show you the specs on this computer. We'll go right over here. Under CPU, you can see we are running a Intel Core i5-8400T at 1.7 gigahertz, 6-core processor. Very, very low TDP requirements on this. Memory, we're actually running 32 gigs of 2667 speed DDR4 memory in here. Excuse me. Disk 0 is a 256 gig NVMe drive, and GPU again is the NVIDIA GeForce GT 1030. Now this one is, of course, a passive cooled one. It doesn't have a fan on it to cool it off. It's just cooled by air. So it's actually being cooled off by the fans that are on the case. Now let me go ahead here and switch this over here, and we will turn on the 4K cam and have a look at the computer. Uh, Here it is from this side. Let me take my camera and kind of change it over here a little bit so you can see the front. See it basically from a side angle where you can see both sides in there. Nice and clean looking straight down in there. Look at this. Nice and clean looking. I'll let you have a look at that front real close here, where we got the power button, we got the reset button, of course, which actually will control the RGB on this, the single jack audio, 2 USB, and a USB 3.0. Now, ideally, I think if I was going to redo this case, that this would actually be 2 USB 3.0, 1 USB-C, which would make it more modern and more usable for modern hardware. Looking on the side here, you can see uh, one of my criticisms of this case is, where does the airflow come in at? Now, again, I did use reversible fans here so that these blades are actually flowing upwards with the flow instead of downwards. And these were the, what were those called again? Jump peak? The jump peak fans here that are reversible. Is what I'm using there on the bottom to get this effect. Now the fans look really good. Again, I'm going to put these on my to buy again list. I do like these products. You can't really see the top fans too well unless you're going like down here. But yeah, it does have a matching set of fans in there. And looking at the back RGB, you can see that I also put some RAM cover RGB on the RAM. So that is now lit up, and then of course we have our 24 pin lit up, and then our cooling fan lit up here. That looks really, really nice. Let's have a look on the top, which is nice and clear. Now this is a fairly short PC here. It's not very tall, like yay tall. So it does make it pretty ideal if you don't have a lot of room. Like looking at my ruler here, going down there, there's a foot. And then we could take that and go up another 3 inches. So this thing's about, what, 15.5 inches tall. That's it, 15.5. Here's a foot right there from the back, and then another, say, what, inch and a half, say, there. So like 13.5 there. So yeah, pretty small case. If you got a pretty small space to put onto a small desk or whatever, I do like that. Like I said, though, my only concern is where does the air come in? Again, if I was going to redesign this, I would maybe do some front venting right here, maybe some slits or something to maybe let some fresh air in on the bottom so that it can push it upward so that you do have some airflow. Otherwise, where's the airflow coming from except for maybe down at the bottom where there's hardly anything coming in because you have this here blocked off by the power supply. It don't make sense. It looks nice, but it just doesn't make sense. But then again, you look at the build that I did in this. This isn't something that's going to be generating a lot of heat, anyways. So I suppose for a build like this, it's fine. Because going back, let me do this again. Let me do something here. Let's see. We'll turn off the 4K cam, and I'll switch this back. And let me go back, and I'll shut off this task manager here, and we'll open up HW Monitor. See what we got here. I mean, yeah, just sitting here like this. It's just crazy how low these temperatures are. But tell you what, let's give it a better test. Let's do this. We're going to end off here since you did see what it does look like here. We'll end this here, and we'll open up Fortnite and run Fortnite, and we'll just take a look at some of these TDP values and what have you, and performance too, and see how this thing is performing. Hold on here. All right, I got a game started here. Let me switch over the mouse so I'm back in the game. Here. I'll show you the settings that I'm using before we get started here. I am running at 1080p mode. I'm actually limiting my frame rate to 60 frames a second, running it in performance mode. Everything down here is on low except for my view distance, which I do have set on epic. Excuse me. Cough there a minute. So let me go ahead and reset our 1% lows there. So not too bad right now, just playing it like this. Now what I'm looking for, honestly, is not how many frames I can get out of this. Basically I'm looking for just smooth gameplay, something that's not choppy when I'm trying to move, or if I go from like a building to some other scene or something like that. That's what we're looking for here is how well does that respond? Alright, anyways. Find a place to land here. So like I said, we're going to lock it in at 60. For a GT 1030, that's probably about right now. One of the things that we're looking at here is, like I said, again, not so much the frames, but like power usage, things like that. Like I said, this is a very, very efficient CPU and a very efficient GPU, actually, so that if power savings are concerned, this is definitely something to consider. So what are we looking at here? So GPU temp 46 degrees. Look at that, how cool that's staying. CPU temp 45 degrees. I mean, don't you wish like on these higher end processors you could get temps like that? I mean, just imagine like the overclocking you could do if you could keep your CPU at those kind of temps. Frame rate, of course, is still locked in at 60. We're showing an average of 61% low. Went down to 30. That's not that great. Take that. And I should really pay attention to this game. I got shot. Oh, that's alright. I was going to do this just for testing anyways, just so we can kind of get a idea of what we're looking at. So, yeah, it was nice and smooth if I locked it in. Let's go ahead and ready it up. Let's do this. I'm going to take my frame rate here, and I'm going to set it to unlimited. And we'll go back here and see if we can get round going here. Or actually, you know what? Let's not. Let's just end this right here. I'm not going to play another round. Because I don't want to make this video too long here. Well, hold on here. Let me switch to this. We will switch back to the 4K cam there and back to the computer. 1 second here. I need to switch this over and stop this noise. All right. So, to talk about some of the other parts I used in here, all of these were from AliExpress to the RAM cover, of course, the 24-pin extensions, the fans, the cooler, everything in here pretty much. It was, like I said, originally going to be an all AliExpress build, but I did not have any luck with the power supply, which I actually pulled out, and I'm going to send that back. And the GPU, I just wasn't happy with. It did work, but it was a little glitchy, so I sent that back. Replaced it with an Asus, replaced the power supply with a thermal take Smart 500. Um, Pretty stable computer otherwise. Uh, Stable CPU, stable GPU. I mean, like I said, there's no fan that's going to go out on you. No overheating that's going to be done on here. The fans are running at a very, very low RPM right now, uh, which should pretty much stay that way because you're really not going to stress this system as much as you can some of these other gaming systems. And like I said, this is not a gaming system. This is more of a entertainment type computer that I built here. That's going to get sold off and flipped on probably eBay or Jawa.gg. You can look out for that. Usually I'll post a link to it down in the description of the video of where the eBay link is when the link is when the auction is running. And then if you don't see the link down there, that means the auction is over with and it's been sold already. But that's going to be it for this case. Again, this is the Pado Mini. Uh, Got it from China, AliExpress, $33. Might be something worth checking out. Not too bad on the looks, pretty easy to build in. But I do have another build coming up. This one's actually going to be a Christmas present. A lot better parts than what went into this one here. This one here was just kind of a throwaway for content. Another build coming up for a kid named Cooper for his Christmas that Dad wanted me to build one for him. So we're going to get to that one next, and I will see you in the next video, and that's going to be Cooper's video PC. I'm just kind of sleepy today. Sorry. I've been kind of like switching back and forth between working on people's computers and trying to work on my house. Working on this, and then I'll do this for a while, and then I'll do this for a while. So I got my arcade room almost done. The floor is almost done. I got to finish up in here. There's still a little bit, like right here. I need to finish up some extra painting in here and do a little bit of this and that in this room still. But anyways, so another build coming up. That should be within the week here. I'll talk to you guys later. I will see you in the next build. Um, where's my mouse thing so I can turn this off? 1 second here. All right. See you in the next build. Bye bye, guys.